Welcome back to another episode of the AA Sports Podcast. My name's Art here with my brother Alex.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Alex, we made it through the conference championship football games. One game left in the NFL season. It's been a long, crazy season, but we made it to the end, and there are only two teams standing. Before we, go over the games, are you surprised by either of these two teams being in the Super Bowl?
I just want to say I am 2-0 in my predictions.
Yeah, you did pick the Buccaneers to beat the to beat the Packers. That's where we'll start. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers went into Lambeau, and they, jumped out to an early lead. Halftime, they were up, I believe, 28-10, or 21-10. And ended up winning the game 31-26 over the Green Bay Packers. Thoughts on the game, Alex? First, we'll give our quick reactions, instant thoughts.
You know what? I thought it was a really good game. I thought it was exciting all the way up until the end. Tom Brady just showed that I think he still has it. He looked really accurate in those first three quarters. The last quarter, he looked a little off. Not exactly sure what happened, but the Buccaneers were able to stop the Packers for the most part. They were able to keep it a close game. And I don't know, I feel like Kevin King was getting just picked on by Tom Brady, and he was just letting everything, I don't know, I felt like he was getting picked on, and there was nothing they could do to stop it.
So apparently Kevin King was on the injury report. He was somewhat of a game time decision where he had to go through walkthroughs in the morning before the game to see if he was even going to play. So I don't know if there was a major lingering injury there. But, yeah, like you said, they picked on him, and Mike Evans had himself a great game. He was over 100 yards, had 2 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Mike Evans? No, 1 touchdown.
1 touchdown.
But he had a couple key third down conversions that really helped keep drives moving. And I thought maybe like the first turnover would kind of decide who was going to win this game. And the Buccaneers did get their first turnover of the game on an Aaron Jones fumble by the safety Whitehead, who ended up going out with an injury because he was flying all over the place.
Yeah.
We talked about in the preview podcast how the supporting cast for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers was going to have to come through. We knew Davante Adams was either going to get his or he was going to get double teamed and have extra coverage to help out. But the supporting cast, kind of did come through. We saw Marquez Valdes-Scantling have a couple nice deep catches. We saw Robert Tonyan scored a touchdown. So I mean,
Valdes-Scantling had himself a game.
Yeah. What do you think happened to the Packers? What was the key for the Packers to not be able to put up points in that first half? Because I mean, they seem to not be able to get going.
You know what? I'm not really too sure. I feel like just the Buccaneers defense was able to just keep them. I don't know. I felt just being able to take away the big weapons. And not just that, but they were able to force some turnovers. And I don't know. They were able to get to Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers just didn't have the protection that he usually. Not that he always has great protection, but he just always knows where to put the ball. But it seemed like the Buccaneers were able to get to him real quick. So it forced him to make a lot of throws that he probably shouldn't or didn't want to go to.
Definitely. And a lot of the passes that he made were in tight coverage. So, his receivers weren't really getting wide open, we could say, for him, where he had to throw the ball into some tight windows. And his receivers had to make some plays where usually we see, the receivers can get some separation. Davante Adams, a couple times he got separation, but for the most part, he wasn't kept in check. Where do we go from here? Chris Godwin, as you see on the screen, Chris Godwin had himself a decent game. I believe he was over 100 yards also.
Cameron Bray had himself a touchdown catch.
Yeah, Bray had himself a touchdown. Leonard Fournette, I thought Leonard Fournette ran the ball very, very well, very strong.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Packers overall. I think they had a great season, but it's second year in a row they fall in the NFC Championship game. Gives me flashbacks of the Eagles who lost 3 straight NFC Championship games. Lost back-to-back NFC Championship games back in the days. Where do you think the Packers go from here? I mean, I don't know. Like, there's speculation that all of it, like, this is the first couple hours since the loss and everything, but
tempers are flaring.
Yeah, the speculation that Rodgers doesn't come back.
Yeah. If I was Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't go back to that.
Really?
Definitely not. I mean, when they're drafting, they're not drafting guys that are helping Aaron Rodgers. They're drafting guys that just have no business being there.
Wow.
Okay, what's his name? That Love guy?
Jordan Love?
There was no need to draft him. For what? He hasn't seen not one snap yet. I haven't even heard reports that, they're building him up or he's the guy. Wow. I just don't see it, And I feel like if they were to get him a good wide receiver too, not saying that Valdez-Scantling, Alan Lazard, these guys, maybe they could get a really big, outstanding defensive player to help out Jair Alexander. Who knows? I feel like, look at what Chase Young has done for the for the Washington football team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at how one guy can make a difference. Look at Patrick Queen for the Ravens. You know what? One guy can make a difference. So if you can get a good guy in the draft, whether it be defense or offense, I feel like this could help. But if I was Aaron Rodgers, I want out of there.
Really?
Yeah, you know what? It's been 2 seasons. They've made it the same, and it just hasn't panned out. It was go pack go. Now it's no pack no. Get out of there.
Wow.
Colts need a quarterback. We'd be happy to take him on. Come to the winning side.
Matt LaFleur talked about after the game how, if he was asked if Aaron Rodgers would come back, and he said, I really hope he does, because he's the leader of the team, and he's, the backbone of the team. Like, he's what got them the number 1 seed, and he's what got them to the NFC Championship game. So that'll be interesting to see. Aaron Jones, I believe, is a free agent coming up. They have AJ Dillon, Jamal Williams. I don't think is under contract either. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Packers, especially the Aaron Rodgers situation. I honestly don't see why he leaves. I do not see why he leaves.
That makes a lot of sense too with where he's at in age. But look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady left, and he was what? When he left the Patriots, what was he, 42?
Yeah, but when he left the Patriots, they had just lost to the Titans in the wild card round.
Yeah, but look, the Packers seem like they always have a good team, but they just don't have the team to get you to the next level, to get you past a team like the Buccaneers.
But how far are they away?
Like a team that just has weapons on the... What if they have better weapons than you? What are you going to do?
Okay,
Aaron Rodgers can't do everything. What about upgrades to his offensive line? What about upgrades to his wide receiver too? What about upgrades to another corner to go along with Jair Alexander? What about a better coach?
A better coach? They just hired him.
Oh, what about a better coach?
Oh, man. All right, well, we'll leave the Packers for now. Johnny Chinga, shout out to Johnny Chinga's big Packers fan. Feeling for you today. I was pulling for the Packers. I know I was. But the Buccaneers just proved to be the better team today.
You know what? I would want to say, too, that I did want the Packers to pull it off, but the reason I picked the Buccaneers was just, I don't know. I couldn't just say that the Packers were going to win because I felt like the Packers just aren't that type of team yet.
Their defense started out really slow. We saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being able to move the ball early. And then in the second half, we saw a better defense for the Packers.
Yeah.
If that defense would have shown up in the first half, maybe we're talking about a different outcome here.
That makes a lot of sense because the Buccaneers, I feel like they made a lot of, on defense, they made a lot of tackles, one-on-one tackles, like when they tackled Aaron Rodgers for the, not Aaron Rodgers,
Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones for the fumble.
Mm-hmm.
that was a tackle that he could have easily
Open
missed.
field, one-on-one.
Yeah, and it happened one prior, but luckily I think Tanyan recovered it, right? Yeah, so I mean, just little mistakes like that just can't happen. And what do you think? Where I think at one point the Packers had it 23-28 in the fourth quarter, or was it the third quarter, ending of the third quarter?
I think it was the end of the third quarter
where they closed that gap. What was it that made the Buccaneers hold on to that lead, or what was it that the Packers weren't able to do?
Well, the Packers just couldn't, like, there was that goal line drive at the end. I think
you told me about that one.
That's what I wanted, it's third and goal, like at the 8 or something like that. And Aaron Rodgers has space to run. He throws the ball to Devontae Adams in double coverage. I didn't like the throw. But you look back at the picture, and Rodgers has room to run. Now, I'm not saying he's going to score, and a lot of people aren't saying, well, he might not have scored. But you're talking fourth and goal from the 4, fourth and goal from the 3, instead of fourth and goal from the 8. And then you kick the field goal when the field goal doesn't help you. Listen to my argument, okay? It's fourth and goal from the 8. You're down 8. So you need a touchdown and you need the 2-point conversion, right? Mm-hmm. If you get it, great. You have to stop Tom Brady from scoring. If you don't get it, you have to stop Tom Brady in 3 plays for you to get the ball back. Mm. And if you kick the field goal, you have to stop Tom Brady in 3 plays to get the ball back. Right. So what's the difference? Why not just try to go for the touchdown? If you don't get it, fine. You're in the same situation you would be as if you kicked the field goal. You got to stop Tom Brady. You don't stop Tom Brady, oh, well. You at least tried for the touchdown. But you took away an opportunity from Aaron Rodgers to try to tie that game. And at the end of I want to say it was the end of the first half, where it's fourth and goal from like the 4, I want to say. And they kick a field goal to make it 14-10. Go for it there. Why not go for it? The worst thing that happens is you don't make it, but you get Tom Brady pinned inside the 5. I get it. They probably didn't trust their defense at that moment and take the 3 points. But, man, Brady was driving. And then we saw what Brady was able to do by hitting Scotty Miller on that big, fourth and 3, with like 6 seconds left. So, I mean, Scotty Miller was another guy who came up big for them. My damn microphone stand is not helping me today. It hasn't been helping me the last couple.
Another thing that I want to ask you, and I know a lot of people are going to be upset if I don't ask this. Well, the penalty at the end of the game on Kevin King, what do you feel it was an unfair penalty, being that, they were letting a lot of things slide in this game, a lot of hand fighting between the receivers and the corners, a lot of just, to me, it looked like a lot of hand fighting from, corners and receivers, to where usually there are penalties, but I don't know, for whatever reason in this game, they just let it go. At the end, it's a crucial penalty. The Packers need at least one stop because they only have they already burned a timeout. It's the 2-minute warning had already passed, right? Mm-hmm. So, they call that penalty. It gives the Bucs an automatic first down. Do you think that was an unfair call? Say it right now. Do you think it's corruption in football?
No, it was a penalty.
Brady refs, or what's going on?
It was a penalty. It was a penalty.
Yeah, it was.
However, if you're gonna call that, you have to call everything else during the game.
Yeah.
You can't call everything during the game and then call that one, which is the same as the Allen Lazard jersey pull. Sure, the jersey pull was on the shoulder for Lazard. Tyler Johnson got pulled from the shirt at the bottom. What's the difference?
Yeah.
So
I think it was just it's different material. That's probably the only difference.
It's a penalty, but man, if you're gonna call that, you got to call everything. You can't just call what you want to call and not call what you don't want to call.
Yeah, I mean,
that one was pretty blatant though. Like the referee was like right in front of it. Like you could see the jersey being tugged like a yard back.
Yeah.
So I mean, that
was definitely a tough break for the Packers, man. I'm not saying that they would have stopped Tom Brady, because I think the way the game was going, I just don't feel that we're gonna have enough to stop a guy like Tom Brady. But
But if you give Aaron Rodgers a chance to score the touchdown, maybe you don't put your defense in that situation where they have to try to stop Tom Brady on 3 plays from getting 10 yards.
Yeah, definitely. There's no excuse for that one.
Why not go for it? Why not go for it? And that's what I'm going to ask myself. Matt LaFleur didn't coach to win that game. And we'll talk about it in the next game. I think
you can't be conservative with a guy like Tom Brady. I mean, why wouldn't you go for it at that point in time? You're like on the 10-yard line. You would be in better position than if you were to kick it off.
Yeah.
And, get a touchback or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Sometimes these coaches just don't. Maybe he panicked.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe. Got cold feet. But excited to see the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. They'll be the first home team, I guess. The first team to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium in the history of the NFL, because I guess the other teams to play in their home city didn't play in their home stadium, whatever the heck that means. But congrats to the Buccaneers. I think they've had a great season, and they're gonna put up a heck of a game in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, who take the victory over the Buffalo Bills 38-24. The score says 14 points, but this game was a lot wider than I think than the score shows. What did you think of the Chiefs against the Bills?
I'll tell you exactly what I think right now. I said the Bills are not a Super Bowl team, and they are not.
No, they're not. And I said that they wouldn't be able to beat the Chiefs. Their Cinderella run ended.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Didn't you say that the Bills would beat the Chiefs?
No, I said the Chiefs would beat the Bills.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that podcast because I think a lot of people were anointing the Bills as Super Bowl team because Patrick Mahomes was in the concussion protocol. People thought he wasn't gonna play. All this other baloney. No. Listen, Josh Allen had several times to win this game, and I think he showed inexperience.
Yes,
I think that they anointed the king before he was crowned. And you can't do that in this league with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce, who had an absolute monster of a game.
Yeah. I mean, all three of those guys had crazy games. Mecole Hardman had a huge game after that muffed punt in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That allows the Bills go up 9-0. 10-0? No. 10-0. No, 9-0. They missed the extra point.
Right.
They go up 9-0, and then the Chiefs score 35 straight points or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
They started to completely crumble.
Yeah, they scored a bunch of points straight before the Bills were able to score some more points there at the end, which, like I said, brought the game closer. But, this game was not close. That guy right there, Andy Reid, mastermind. I'm happy for him to be back in the Super Bowl. Definitely deserves it. He's coached his butt off all season. I mean, sure, he's got Patrick Mahomes and he's got Kelce and Hill, but to make this work, you got to be able to run the ball. Their offensive line has looked really good through injuries, and their defense, their defense is so good. And we talk a lot about Mahomes, but that Chiefs defense really confused Josh Allen and was able to get pressure on Josh Allen.
I said it in the last podcast. This Chiefs defense plays different in the playoffs. It just seems like they get a spark from being in the playoffs. And it's not a knock to the Bills. You know what? The Bills just, I don't know. I'm salty because they beat my team and they took them out of the playoffs, right? I'll admit it. I was rooting for the Chiefs to beat them. And good thing they did. But, I mean, I felt like there was a lot of mistakes that the Bills made that maybe, I don't know, maybe it could have been a different game, but I feel like just the Chiefs have too many weapons. The speed, the safety blanket in Travis Kelce to make those important catches. It's like having an extra receiver out there. He's not even really a tight end.
Yep.
He's more of he's as quick as a receiver. He's got the best hands of any tight end out there. I mean, and then you had a guy like Tyreek Hill that can just absolutely burn you downfield. And if he doesn't burn you downfield, he makes you respect him to the point where he can run a hard 10 and out and cut back. Even on a guy like Tre'Davious White. So, I mean, props to this Chiefs team.
Yeah, that Bills defense looked lost. They had no way to stop the Chiefs. They couldn't put any pressure on Mahomes. They couldn't stop the receivers. They tried zone. They tried man. They just couldn't. None of their coverage schemes worked. And again, that's Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy with their brilliant game plan of just getting their superstars the ball and letting them do what they do. That Miko Hardman end around went for 71 yards on a Miko Hardman end around. Tyreek Hill caught a short slant, like it was probably like a 2 or 3 yard slant that went for 80 yards or something like that. It wasn't a touchdown, but still the crazy yardage after the catch. Quick, simple plays. Just get the ball in your playmakers' hands and let them make those plays. I thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran the ball very well.
Yeah.
Darrell Williams to me looked even better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So that little running game helps keep the defense honest. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about the Chiefs. They're so damn good.
Patrick Mahomes showed that experience. Even him being a young quarterback, it just seems like he's so calm, cool, and collected back there.
He's got great coaching. I know I'm talking a lot about Andy Reid. I'm a big Eagles fan, and I was a fan of what Andy Reid did in Philadelphia.
It's not about what the Eagles right now.
That's why. But I'm talking about the background of Andy Reid. He was an Eagles coach for like 13 years.
What did he do for you guys? Did he get you guys a Super Bowl?
No, but he took us to 1 Super Bowl and 3 NFC Championship games. What I was going to say though, Andy Reid, great coach for Patrick Mahomes to go to. For him to sit behind Alex Smith 1 year and then, get his chance to start. Andy Reid knew what he was doing. He knew Patrick Mahomes was going to be this type of superstar with the talent around him. Again, just great coaching. The Chiefs defense, Steve Spagnuolo just does a great job with that defense. But I'm going to say about the Bills are, I want to say, a season away or 2 seasons away from this game being a lot closer than it was today.
Where do you think there's anything that they can upgrade on their team? Maybe their offensive line, maybe some key players, maybe some safeties on the defense.
I think their defense is really good. Their defensive scheme is really good. I just think they couldn't match up with the speed and the explosiveness of the Chiefs defense, of the Chiefs offense. But as far as their offense, Josh Allen had no time. I don't know if a better offensive line would have helped, because Jones and Clark were all over Josh Allen, right away. Josh Allen had to scramble, and sure, he had a couple good runs, but he wanted to throw the ball, and Diggs was never open. Beasley had a couple good catches, but for the most part, he wasn't open.
I mean, I think in my opinion, I think Josh Allen, along with, I feel like in some spots he didn't have time, but I feel in other spots he tried to make things happen like he was some type of Superman, and he held the ball too long, and he would go for a loss of 20 yards.
Well, yeah,
I mean, downfield trying to do this, and just I don't know, looking for a receiver or something, but instead of just trying to throw the ball away or look for somewhere to throw the ball.
That's what I mean. His receivers weren't open. They weren't getting separation. Diggs was frustrated because he couldn't get open. And you got a guy like Tyrann Mathieu just roaming around in the middle of the field waiting for you to make a mistake. Josh Allen just couldn't throw the ball anywhere. And, you can only throw the ball away so many times before you're like, hey, you got to make a completion, So I just think the Chiefs defense was just that much better. I'm not going to say Josh Allen is terrible, but he's close. I think that team is very close to being back in the same game next year, maybe the year after, because
it seems like they're a young team.
Yeah, then their coaching staff, they got a good coaching staff. I think Dabble's going to return, the offensive coordinator. McDermott's a great head coach. So I think the Bills are really, really close. But for the Chiefs, excited to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I mean, they're the most exciting team in football. And we have the Buccaneers against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We'll have a Super Bowl preview up. If not this week, next week. We got 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, which kind of sucks because it's a long time. But yeah, we'll definitely have a Super Bowl preview up either this week or next week. Again, subscribe, like, comment on our videos. It helps out the podcast. Helps it pop up in the search engine or whatnot. So, any last thoughts on NFL, the conference championship weekend?
No, I thought, you know what? Buccaneers and Packers was a really good game. I'm glad that we got to watch that one first. We got to watch Tom Brady go against Aaron Rodgers, a classic QB versus QB. So I was glad we got to watch that one. And I'm glad the Chiefs pulled it off. And we're going to have a really good Super Bowl.
We are. The Super Bowl is going to be exciting. Dude, the last time Brady and Mahomes met in the AFC Championship game, that was a heck of a game.
That game went to overtime.
These teams played, I think it was in week 12, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was over the Thanksgiving weekend. Right. And it was 27-24. So, I mean, this matchup is just a great matchup for the Super Bowl, Brady versus Mahomes. The past and present against the present and the future. Right. So, yeah, it should be a good one. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the AA Sports Podcast, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thanks a lot, guys.